This stunning young person on my left.
Well, Hey y'all, it's your girl Queen Nick. Hashtag Queen Nick. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, all that good stuff at queennick.art. Check out my website, queennick.art. Follow me on Twitch. And to your right or to your left?
To my right. To my right.
Hey
It'll be to your
everybody,
left.
it's your boy, the Demon here.
Are you
Demon
soft already?
Engine, always on Demon. Kinda, yeah. I'm not gonna lie, that hit me a lot harder than I thought.
Mhm.
So yeah, Demon time forever. And two below me, the queen, the little love herself. You,
Hey y'all, it's SiddeeQah Love here. SiddeeQah Love everywhere.
her ghost
And
town of the
our
DMs are still open.
Actually, my are wide open.
it's a
Actually,
trap.
Don't
It's a
don't
trap.
don't hurt y'all feelings, guys. Don't get your feelings hurt.
Mm-mm-mm. But our very special guest today, uh, the Deva Arazel Newman. She's going to be sitting down with us, and we're going to be talking about witchcraft and how it is portrayed in pop culture.
love it. Love this topic.
Yes, absolutely. And
Say
who
hi to
better to talk
everybody.
talk to it?
Hey everyone, I'm Arazel, aka Deva Arazel, professional muse and non-binary cosmic fairy. I'm definitely happy to join everyone today and discuss this topic.
Oh, she put on a sexy voice.
Yes.
I'm here for it. Ooh. Say it again. Just say it again. I just say it one more time.
The whole thing.
Yeah, the
Oh,
whole thing. Yeah, the whole thing.
What?
No, it don't matter.
I'm
The
not
whole
taking
thing.
up that much space, y'all.
Girl,
I'll have my
Hey, this is
time
for
later.
you.
It's like a 5-star quest. You got to say the whole thing.
I'm sorry.
No, you
Like,
good. You know what I'm
just
saying?
so very like I don't know. This binary cosmic fairy has just such a power and a strength about her that is beyond what I can explain with words, truly. And to know her
These are
is
facts.
to truly love her.
These are facts.
I miss
Absolutely.
you.
I
I miss
can't.
you
I
so
really can't.
much.
I really can't wait to get into the topic. But first, we have the geek report.
Mm. What you got for
uh,
us, Corey?
well, I got two tidbits about the upcoming Cowboy Bebop live action adaptation for Netflix.
Mhm.
Apparently, the original Japanese voice cast will be doing the Japanese dub for Japan.
yeah.
Oh,
Mm.
they're gonna love that.
Yep,
Yes.
yep, yep.
That's a good move. Finally, some good news about something like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, Netflix will be streaming the original all 26 episodes of the anime.
Yay!
Now I
Yes.
get to see what Brahim's favorite anime is all about.
It's about
Comic
time.
Boss.
When is it coming? Like the anime?
In about 3 weeks.
Perfect. Yes.
Yes. I always prefer like the Japanese voices, especially when they do like American dubs and stuff like that. The American voices are never as good.
They
They've
some
recently gotten better.
sometimes
I
they just
look.
can't capture.
It's very rare for me. I'm just like the Japanese, especially the depth of the men's voices and stuff. I'm like, ooh, yes,
Mhm.
exactly. You
I
sound powerful.
would have.
There be sometimes I'm like, who the hell did they get to dub over this? Who did this?
What I've learned
I
from all my
concur.
years of weebdom that we need a new set of American voice actors. And even though nobody wants to admit it, there are some really shitty Japanese voice actors out there.
There
Well,
That
are.
is true. That is true.
well, sometimes
It's not
people don't
always
want to.
funny, but it's true.
Sometimes people don't want to come up with that money.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's that. There is that.
I'm
Uh,
our shows um in Japanese have done really great Japanese dubs. Like some of the bigger shows in the past like 2-3 seasons, I can say like I wasn't annoyed AF by like some random overly squeaky girl or a really like monotone guy that just has like no personality. Because that does happen in
Mhm.
Japanese.
You mean the guy who
Oh,
voice acted for
absolutely.
Zuko?
mm.
What'd you say?
Why are
You
you
mean
calling
the
names though?
He
you
says,
mean the voice actor for Zuko?
"Oh
That
my,
that
but
overly
oh,
monotone voice.
Why are you calling out names though?
Yeah,
Because
Steve
I
Sid
can.
was trying to be
Hold on.
nice. Like
Again, I've asked you this question before the podcast. I ask you this question again. Look at my face. Do it look like I give a fuck?
it's like a baby face
Look like I
actually."
give a fuck. That's
I
because I
look like a
shaved.
baby
Oh, it's
saying, "Do I look like I
Gucci
give a fuck?" It's
cool.
adorable.
It
Like
but
is.
I,
that's
Right.
I shaved. So yeah.
I just wanted to
so
pinch
much
his
shade.
cheeks.
You seem like you give a fuck about milk.
I'm
Ooh.
a fan of
Breast
mommy
milk?
milkers. Yes. On
Listen,
to the next
Okay, okay,
on to
okay,
the next
Um,
okay,
report.
okay. Next
plowing,
report, please.
plowing ahead. Um, yeah. If you want a PS5 for Christmas, Sony is offering a new way to acquire it. You go to
yeah.
their website and you register online, and when your name comes up, have your money, pay for it, and it's being sent to you.
Oh, I have something to add for that
Oh
too.
Lord,
For those
bet.
of you who love who love the PS5, who actually want an all black system, there's this company, I do believe it, I think it's like D Grid or D Lock or something like that. They actually came up with a matte black version that you can like literally pop off the outsides of your PS5 and whatnot, like the white stuff. You can pop
Mm-hmm.
that off and you have matte black plates that you can attach and a sticker that you can put over the glossy strip to complete the look. It's only like $60. So if anybody wants to know more, I can definitely share that. Um uh from a buddy of mine who I follow on Snapchat. But I'll send you guys the link for it.
It'll
Thank you
give you
for
Appreciate it.
like
this.
two
I would like
PS3.
to thank y'all for this information, and I'm going to take this baby face now and find me a sugar
What?
mama.
Get your
So
ass back.
Boy,
Where is he really?
What?
boy, get
Get
back
your
here.
ass back here.
look,
Get your ass in here.
almost Christmas, and
Our
I need a PS5. God damn it! And if I
man,
need to
Wait, I thought you had one.
shake my ass to do
No.
so,
Oh
going
no.
to no.
he acting like a
Oh,
whole time now.
I have one.
Speaking of doing what you got to do to get paid,
Mm,
Yeah.
over in United Arab Emirates, they are
mm.
setting up a real life Squid Game.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Not
Oh,
exactly
Lord.
sure to what extreme it's going to go, but
Oh, I found out. I found
oh,
out. So there's no prize money. You get a custom, yeah, you get a custom green sweatsuit from the show. That's it. You don't
Okay.
win any money at all.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's
You
not
don't even
it's
get
not what
no
you think it
flight.
is. It's not what you think it
Why would
is.
it be United? Listen,
the
I ain't
United
finna
that's the
Arab
shop for
fucking.
no
Emirates.
Is
green
the
jumpsuit.
That's like
airline?
the
We're talking about the airline, right? Just so we're clear. So you're not
no,
even
the
gonna get free
country.
flights and nothing. Oh, just the country. So, oh, for a second, I thought you were talking about. All right, all right, all right.
The
So I
Emirates,
was
United
yeah,
like,
you
wait
were
a
Arab
thinking of
minute.
Emirates.
Emirates, yeah.
Yeah. So all right. So I was like, all right. So you ain't gonna get no free plane tickets or nothing. What the fuck is going on?
Wow,
So
that's
you're
like the
saying just
cheapest.
this place is
Mm-hmm.
just gonna set this shit up so that people could win a fucking jumpsuit? Don't you have to wear the
Wow.
jumpsuit
Yeah, you're supposed to
just
wear
Yeah.
the
to?
jumpsuit. So that's why it just doesn't make
So
sense to
I'm gonna
me.
play the game
I
I'm
and
mean,
like,
then
And you
are the
just do it and
words
you get to keep the jumpsuit.
right.
wait.
So
are the
so we not
words
going to win no
supreme
money?
written on it? I mean, I don't get it. Like, this sounds worthless.
I don't know. I don't
Really,
know the complete details of it, but that's all I know. I know there's no
I
prize money.
I ain't finna get shot over no
Well,
green jumpsuit.
at
God
my job, I'm literally planning a Squid Games event right like today. We were planning it.
So you gonna shoot them with paintball guns?
And we're all it's
Can
gonna
I
be
That
live
like
on
would
a
be
different.
fun. Like they just gotta sign
That would be
waivers.
fun.
This series of different games and stuff that we're gonna do, but like our prize is way better than the whole country's prize. Like what the heck? You
Yeah.
can
I mean,
even
you gonna tell
offer
us what the prize
one
is,
month
or do we
rent.
have to wait?
You couldn't offer like $100 grocery gift card. Like these people
Hey,
obviously like what do you
I'd rather take
do
groceries over some fucking green
over a
jumpsuit that
jumpsuit?
day.
Unless this is a person who like doesn't have maybe they just lost all their clothes or something. But even still, I was like a slap in the face almost. Like what?
It's a literal, yeah.
I mean,
I feel like it's gonna be
ARAB
more
money
than
looking
that.
kind of short in this one,
Yeah.
but it's wild. Next story up: Disney Plus
Yep.
is now doing anime,
Mm-hmm.
and
Why?
I already have the names of their first two titles.
Mm-hmm.
One is bringing back a oldie, Blue Rock Shooter.
Blue Rock or is it Black Rock?
Blue Ox.
Black Rock, Black
Oh,
Rock
Black
Shooter,
Rock. Okay.
Okay.
BRS.
Okay. I'm not mad at that.
And the other one is Twisted Wonderland, which is a Japanese RPG game of
Mm-hmm.
Disney characters,
Yeah.
especially Alice in Wonderland.
I mean,
So these are gonna be kids animes,
That's why.
basically.
I
Shooter
don't know, but
was not really. It was like a lot of violence.
yeah,
What they're gonna do with that because
I
I
mean,
mean,
Disney got
the
violence.
picture for
Most of them
Twisted
start
Yeah.
with
Wonderland.
violence. Most of them
Yeah.
start with
Yeah.
somebody's
I mean, look
mama
at
dying or
Bambi.
something.
Right. Look at Bambi. They
The
got a
picture
weird
for
obsession with
Twisted
matricide.
Wonderland showing a bunch of people stepping out of a coffin, stepping out of coffins.
But what I mean is that like outside of Marvel, Disney doesn't do like some of the shows that are newer. Disney doesn't do Black Rock Shooter violence. And if I would
yeah,
I'm a really huge Black Rock Shooter fan. So we've been dying for over a decade for a new it has been a decade, I feel like, for a
it
new
has.
and this is what I mean, I'm not gonna like lose my faith in it, but it better be good.
I hope so. It's just one of
Do
those
we know
things where
which
I heard it.
animation studios is taking? Did they
Mm.
get for this?
I don't know.
Listen,
But
this got the money, so this animation better not be.
They,
They might use Pixar.
You know
If it's
how many
Pixar, then it might
motherfuckers
be
got
good.
money and fuck everything up? I mean, just look at
thank you,
Oh
C.O.O.
shit.
thank you, Arazel.
Part right there. I'm gonna pull out my.
Look at y'all, Warner Brothers Studios.
I mean, I kind of figured they would put their hand into anime the moment I saw Star Wars Visions.
Plus, it's like
So,
such a thing right now. Like anime obviously has always been popular for a very long time, but it's different now. It's different, like in how much money is flowing through the United States, and even like globally, it's different. It's not the same as it was 10 years ago,
nope.
or even 5. Even with how
uh,
premieres. Okay, go ahead, Corey.
no, it's good. I I have concerns.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like I don't know, man.
I
But
do
we'll
too.
see how it goes. Especially with Twisted Wonderland.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like I'm not really sure how far they're gonna let that rabbit hole go.
Yeah, yeah,
Put
but
up.
being
Yeah,
honest,
it's like y'all ready
I'm
for
probably not
twisted
gonna watch
things,
it.
Disney?
Mm-hmm.
You
I'm
ready?
probably not
That'll
gonna
be
watch it till
interesting.
years later from now.
And then also this week, John Kent, Clark Kent's son, who's currently Superman, has come out as bisexual.
Wait, what? So wait, what? Hold on.
Yeah.
And the
Jonathan
current
Kent.
Did you miss that?
You
Wait,
haven't. So Clark Kent's son. So
Clark
Superman's
Kent's son.
son
Yeah.
Yes.
came out as bisexual.
Not
Yes.
Yes.
Superman himself.
Okay, yeah, that's what confused
His
me. I was
son.
like, wait, is it
He's-
his dad or was it his?
I
You know.
mean, I wouldn't blame Superman for deciding to be bisexual.
He's
You
an
read the
alien.
comic. You know how many
How
times
do we
Lois has been
expect
killed?
I mean,
aliens to
yeah.
really?
He needs a new side piece
Yeah.
First
in
of
case
all,
Lois dies again.
But yeah, apparently it's his son.
Oh, okay. So that's interesting.
He
My
bisexual.
whole thing is they were
I-
leading up to this. If you were like actually was reading the comic, just like with Robin and his Robin and his bisexuality, I'm like, he definitely he definitely was like checking to see if Superboy Connor Kent would have
Mhm.
been was sure about his sexuality, and Connor's like, no, but we're still homies though.
It's
And
like, yeah, maybe.
of
Maybe
course,
not.
the hetero nerd rage has run rampant across the internet, and as usual, they will be okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, you just ignore them.
Mhm.
Because no, because I say this. Let's see, Cassandra Cain, Wonder Woman, Catwoman, Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy.
Mhm.
Uh, I'm like a lot like when a lot of female characters are either lesbian or bisexual or they turn them that way. No one bats an
No one
eye.
gave a
No,
shit.
everybody's fine with
But
it
no, it's
because they like
cute
to
when it's
fetishize.
women.
They like to fetishize
Yes.
bisexuality in women,
Yes.
All
and
the
it's
What?
time.
so gross when
Because
it
they
comes to
think
men for some
somehow they
reason.
benefit from it. It's just like,
Look,
And it's
Wait,
like,
wait,
no, half the time the women just end up realizing how much of a dick you are and leave you to your own devices
Okay.
and go
but,
together.
I
but when y'all
generally
have
don't
Robin walking
care.
around in a red and black onesie, looking dummy thick, all of
Don't-
a sudden,
Look, I don't care if they decide to do pounding or be the one getting pounded. I just hope that they're better heroes than their fathers. That's all I care about. Because
That's
fair
fair.
enough.
Superman and Batman are shitty fucking heroes.
Okay.
yeah.
That's
Oh
fair.
man. Um, DreamWorks is in productions for another Dragon series, but this is called Dragons: The Nine Realms. It takes place in the How to Train Your Dragon universe, but
Okay.
it's in modern day.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Interesting.
I don't know how I feel about that. I will watch it. I'll check it out.
I was a big fan of the Dragon series.
Hmm.
I thought I wouldn't like it, but damn it, it just kept working.
Yeah, it was good. I
Yeah,
mean,
it was
really enjoyable series of movies. So,
not only that, but they had a hit show as well.
oh, I didn't even know
Oh, that's
that.
Yeah,
true.
they had a hit show in between the movies. It
Oh,
was
see,
like
good. That's cute.
it's a very strong franchise. So, I
Yeah.
mean, this will definitely be a nice turn.
Hmm.
So, I look forward to it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Unrelated, but Shrek was also a strong franchise. Like some even
Yeah.
having multiple things doesn't always mean it's gonna be ass, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
if we look at Shrek and kind of use that as an example, it's like, all right, so it's possible, you know what I'm saying? How to Train Your Dragon, that series has been pretty good too. So I don't know. It being modern day is kind of like, all right, just a little
Kind
Oh,
different compared to the
kind of weird.
Jones, but like
Right.
I am interested in seeing how they decide to integrate it.
and I
I,
love
I
Shrek
yeah,
because
go
Shrek
ahead.
is so relevant lately on social media. People are always talking about Shrek.
I'm not
Like,
gonna lie. That's
I love
definitely possibly something I'm gonna
this.
watch.
Have y'all ever actually seen what Shrek's human form looks like?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, you remember
he's
Shrek
actually
2?
cute.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
like, okay,
My
Shrek.
friend, literally my friend
If
looks
you
like
don't
Shrek.
like him when he's green, you don't deserve him when he's lean.
Oh my
And
god.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
God.
Eh,
That's how
I
you
mean,
on
I
one time.
mean,
he
depends on
turned
the
human,
movie, Shrek
became lean
can't
as
get
fuck.
any
He's
Shrek.
built.
You said Bill. I can't.
I mean,
Then he had the jawline for it too.
Oh, he
Okay.
did. And the long wavy locks.
Oh, butter.
Had a face like a
Junkies.
scissor.
Try to place. Try to place.
is that all your news? Is that all your
Donkey too.
I
all you
got
have?
no. I got two more movie tidbits.
All
Uh,
right.
M Night Shyamalan.
Oh boy.
Why he still got a career? I'm asking for a friend.
Don't be rude. He a Philly native. Be
I
nice.
don't give a fuck.
Be nice. Just try. Can you try,
No,
please?
You just
Nah.
mad
He
about
has a
Avatar. Is that why you saying that?
He won't
If I
forgive him for
cared,
Avatar.
if I cared about
Avatar
Philly
That's what I was
natives,
glass.
wondering.
I
I
would have
thought that's what
stayed
it
in
was.
Philly.
I can't.
Avatar and a lot of other shit.
I can't forgive him for the happening. Like,
It's plot twist
Avatar,
having ass.
glass, the village, the happening.
Honestly, I'ma say Glass.
what about that other one?
That's
The,
what I can't
Like,
forgive him
he has an
for.
upcoming.
Because it was so
Yeah,
rushed. It could have been way
something in the
better.
water. What's that movie about the mermaid in the water?
Lady in the Water.
Lady.
Yeah,
water.
he
The
said that
movie
all.
wasn't bad. The problem was the studio marketed it as a horror film.
Yes, they sure did.
Like a bunch
Yeah,
of
they did.
dickheads. Did they read the script? I don't
He
know.
No,
And
it's
then
even
the
Are you
happening was a
asking if
good
anybody
concept,
in Hollywood?
but it wasn't written well for like the way that they put it on screen. It was mad slow for folks, but I actually liked the concept.
Yeah,
listen. When you have Mark Wahlberg being the smartest man in the room, you're gonna
stop,
have a bad time.
I'm pretty
stop.
sure M. Night did not do casting, so we're gonna have to look at the casting department for that.
I mean,
I mean,
But can you be safe?
Did he
When
do casting? Let me know right now.
right?
maybe he
mm-mm.
didn't have the good vibrations. Come
Oh
on,
no,
come on,
hair
feel
on
it,
a.
feel it.
I remember when Lady in the Water came out, M. Night Shyamalan did an interview, like an article, where he repeated himself about where his movie ideas come from, and he said like they're bedtime horror stories to his children. And I'm thinking like,
Why you telling bedtime horror stories to your
I'm
kids?
like, oh, these are horror stories because they're horrible. Like they're bad. Sometimes they're just bad stories. Like of course. And like Lady in the Water was not a horror. They really did paint it like it was going to be scary.
I always wonder if his
Yeah,
kids
Lady in
just be
the
looking at him like, "Dad, did you really take that dry ass story you told us and made a movie?"
It's, yes.
I mean, I would say that the happening is horror. Because if that shit really fucking happened, that
Mhm.
Oh,
would be very fucking horrifying.
And you
So, like, if
remember,
people
like,
just that
yes,
is horror, but the way they did it didn't
it
make it
just
particularly scary. It was
it
just like,
went from
oh,
scary to
interesting and
comedy.
slow.
I mean, it was just like Bird Box. Bird Box wasn't actually scary.
it was more of like a psychological thriller, but like a tame one.
Yeah,
Bird Box was better at keeping the suspense.
fair
Mm-hmm.
enough.
The
Yeah.
happen, now it does remind me of like urban legend, where every time I see like leaves or like the when I see the wind blowing the trees a certain way, I do think of like, oh, is it happening? So I it did have that effect on me where I don't ever forget, but it's not as strong as when I see logs on the expressway, or a ladder on top of the car. Like,
Chill.
Yeah,
And see,
no, that's
don't
100.
bring Wes
That's
Craven into
100.
this.
mm,
But he has a movie coming out in February called Knock at the Cabin. It's a horror film. Everything else about it is still absolutely sealed up like a steel trap. So
ain't much
yeah,
else. That's why it's sealed up because it's an empty box. Like, fuck.
and
Everything's in the shop windows, but there's nothing in the shop.
my last two bits, Indiana Jones. They're almost wrapping up filming Indiana Jones 5. It has something to do with time travel. To be honest, I need Indiana Jones to die. Harrison
Same.
Ford's characters need to
I'm tired
die.
of this colonizer. He needs to go somewhere.
He needs to
Y'all
stop
still
fucking with
doing this?
shit and leave it
Y'all
alone.
still doing this? You gonna
Like,
travel to these different countries? Oh, this belongs in a museum. Come on, bruh. If you don't get your colonizing ass the fuck out of here and go
Just
home.
hearing
Yeah.
that makes me think back to Black
Shit. Go
Panther.
work at a national park somewhere, motherfucker. What you
Okay,
doing?
okay.
Hearing that makes me think
Period.
back to Black Panther. I'm like, all right, I would
Part
take this off again.
Period.
So these are the
Period.
soil.
Okay.
Were they
need to
oh,
undersell when you took them?
pitch that.
uh, last tidbit. Actor Michael Caine. Some folks might remember him from the Dark Knights trilogy as Alfred. He has decided to step away and retire from
Mhm.
acting at 88 years old.
Fuck.
Maybe he'll
Oh, we're
William
gonna
Shatner.
miss him, but also good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a long.
He's had a long career.
Yeah.
Space. Don't go to space
And I'm
like
sure
William.
he's still making mad residuals off of all the shit he's done. He don't
Uh,
have to work another day in his
We're
life.
Comic Con next year, touring.
Yeah.
I
He
don't,
may just do
I
that.
don't.
Spend the rest of his time meeting people.
He
Mhm.
might, but then again, that's. If you ever notice, not too many British actors actually do that when they retire. No matter what they were in, they retire. They like retire.
Mhm.
Yeah,
They just go
that's
into
an interesting point. I
seclusion
didn't really
and
peep
live
that
their life.
before.
Yeah,
I
think
guess because they
about it.
as a
None of
job.
the James Bonds.
Yeah, like yeah, like
Mhm.
Pierce Brosnan is out here like living his best life with his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah, Timothy Dalton's doing Doom Patrol. Still hasn't done any con related stuff for that.
Even though I did see Pierce Brosnan one time,
I
he
mean,
did
with the
something.
Vaseline, I don't think anybody wants to like with the panorama and the Vaseline. I don't think anybody really wants to do much.
I'm just over it with the Vaseline.
Listen,
And
I just don't want us to get flagged, okay?
right, Nico, you have a piece, right?
Yes. So on YouTube there's a page called a better union or a more better union or something like that. And basically, they are staging a walkout coming soon due to the working conditions working with like Amazon, Netflix, and a lot of these new media production companies. Because these are new media production companies and they kind of control everything as far as distribution, studio and otherwise, like the working conditions that these people have been working under have not been fair, have not been well at all. There's been quite a few deaths in relation to these projects and things because they're skipping out on lunch breaks. They're working 16, 12, you know, 18-hour days and not getting breaks, not even bathroom breaks. And these people are expected to show up on set the very next day early, but they're leaving super late, and so they're falling asleep at the wheel and getting into car accidents and stuff of that
Mm,
nature, or they have to retire early because their bodies are so run down.
It's insane.
So
damn.
they are,
Capitalism is a bitch.
yeah, they are
And
definitely petitioning to get a um better wages and also better working hours and working conditions, because like who wants to work on a project for 12 hours but you don't even get a break, you don't even get a lunch break? That is ridiculous.
Yeah,
Or
strange.
even a bathroom break, like what? Like are
I'm
they
a
supposed to pee on themselves? Like
Right.
I'm a firm believer that the show must go on, but I also know that there are a lot of hardworking people outside of just the actors, the directors. You have your makeup crew, your grips. I'm like, these are the guys who put it all together, and they need to put some respect on their name.
right, like
It's like
seriously though.
effect on their existence.
Right. Like my whole thing is, even if you're paying people a high wage, that still doesn't give you
That's
the
not.
the gall to treat them like crap either. You get what I'm
Mm,
saying? Like treat
yeah.
them fairly like decent human beings. At the end of the day, none of these productions happen without these people. So
Exactly.
treat them accordingly.
Right.
You
And it's
don't
just
treat your actors like that.
yeah.
They never
It's
do. They
Mhm.
always like treat the actors like they're oh like the prize
Royalty.
jewel of everything. But it's like this film literally will not happen without these behind the scenes people. You can always find another actor, but you
Yeah.
can't always
But
find these behind the scene fucking
you better
people.
treat your
You know.
PA like they your lifeline.
mm,
Right.
Oh
Because they
That
yeah.
boy
are.
be like,
Because they
I'll
really
tear this
are.
set
And
down
this
right
is
the fuck
literal
now.
like right. And these are literal basic human rights issues right here. Like the idea of not allowing people to eat, not allowing people to pee. Like, oh, okay, so this is like slave labor now. That's what
right.
we're
Right.
doing. Like, we can't even just blame that on a lack of structure. They literally
Nope.
don't give a fuck.
Literally.
That shit is
Like
wild.
And
I can say any of the productions that I've been on and been background and worked in never done that, but also they have a contract with SAG. So SAG
mhm.
doesn't allow that. That's a whole union there that does not allow them to do
Yeah.
that to their people. So, I mean, that's why, they're trying to unionize. They're trying to create a better system for their people because like they're just taking straight up advantage while their
Mhm.
CEO goes and takes trips to the moon and to outer space or wherever the hell he's going and
Mhm.
just doesn't want to pay people a fair wage. Like pay people a fair wage and treat them accordingly as such. Like
Yeah.
and if they're not and that's not a reflection of who you are, then don't allow it. Denounce it.
Right.
Mhm. And we know Amazon's one perpetrator, but it's plenty of
Yeah,
other studios out there.
Netflix is another. All
Netflix.
of these new media companies, Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, all of these new streamers who are putting out all of this information and all this content and whatnot. All of these people that you're buying content from,
Even
like that is
TBS.
like yes, TBS, like all of them. They're trying to save
TBS
money and
and
be cheap.
TPS.
Yeah,
Mhm.
all of them. But oh, I have another tidbit, and this is just personal, but I'm gonna share. Uh, Queen's birthday, chapter 28 is next Friday,
Yeah.
so feel free to
Hey,
feel free to drop something in your girl's cash app. That's at $model MODEL NIKO Smith SMITH. So yeah, on that
Damn
day,
you old.
feel free.
don't
Don't
He
don't
goes
do
on.
that. Don't do that, dude. Don't do that. Cause you older than me. So go ahead. Go
don't
ahead. I'm the
don't worry,
baby. I
Nico.
know.
We got something for you.
He's such a hater, I swear.
But that was the Geek Report. We're of the Amerime Junkies. We'll be right back after these messages. Okay.
We'll be right back after these messages.
Whatever he
Amerime, 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 Amerime,
Yo,
Mhm.
I actually do love our theme song though. Amerime,
Mhm.
Amerime, Amerime. Hey.
Yeah.
Hey, folks, we're back, and if you oh, okay.
Well,
Well,
let's discuss how have you guys' week's been? It's been pretty rough for me. I think
Rough.
it's because like it's been like there's been this retrograde, like Mercury's been in retrograde. And like Mercury in retrograde has been fucking everyone up from
Is it
what I've seen.
especially strong this time around? Like it was nearly unavoidable in so many
Yeah,
ways.
mine has been
like
as smooth as sandpaper.
Oh my
well there you
god.
go. I mean technically that's like an oxymoron to some degree given the fact that no, given the fact that like sandpaper makes things smooth though. So I mean
But
that wasn't really a
sandpaper
good.
is not smooth.
I mean, yes, sandpaper is not smooth, but I'm just
But
saying
it
though, once you're done
they,
using the sandpaper, it gets smooth, is it
so
not?
even though your week was rough, your rough week made someone else's week smooth.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
Like
maybe.
people you work
How
for.
about that?
There you go. There you go.
How about that? But
Mhm.
we're back. We're back. We're here to talk to Deva Arazel, and from what I understand, you're a practitioner, and you're pretty knowledgeable about witchcraft.
Indeed.
And of course, us and the viewers have questions. Uh, Queen, would you like to start?
Yeah, like okay, so what are like all right, for those who are starting their spiritual and magical journeys, what are some things that you wish you told like that you wish someone told you when starting that journey?
Huh. I think I've actually been pretty fortunate because I haven't I guess what I'll say
Like
that any
doesn't have to be bad or
practitioner
good. It's
should
just like,
know.
yeah, general knowledge.
Yeah. I guess what I would say that any practitioner should know is that your practice doesn't have to look like anyone else's. Just like any spiritual practice or religious practice, it's all about you and your own personal connection to spirit. or whatever, so like nobody else can tell you what that looks like for you. And while there are many universal symbols, there's also like cycles that folks go by, and things of the like, which can definitely help if you're working with these things. Really, the power of your intent and your focus and your belief in what you're doing is
Hmm.
strong enough. So that's very important, I think, for any practitioner to know, is that your practice really doesn't have to look like anyone else's. There isn't necessarily a right or wrong way to do something, and that's what makes it awesome.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get your start? What sparked
Um,
that want or desire to learn about these practices, and what specifically do you practice? Because I know
but
there's a
this is
lot of
just
subcultures.
Yeah, so this is just it's always been kind of a part of who I am. Like I've always had interest in things like this, the occult, taboo, especially people who are into supernatural stuff in general. Magic comes up a lot anyway. So I always kind of had interest in the kind of like more hidden or like, arcane
Mm-hmm.
aspects of life or whatever, especially in regards to spirituality. I think as a kid I always thought, like for example, I always liked the stories of the Greek pantheon. I
Mm-hmm.
Ah,
thought the idea of gods existing was cool, and I was like, so,
Yeah.
and I also liked that in the Greek pantheon it very much depicted them like normal as human beings. A lot of the
Hmm.
shit they do is petty as fuck. You know what I'm
Zeus,
saying? Like, okay,
Athena,
they
Zeus
do
was
all
fuck
sorts.
boy
Oh my
Athena.
god,
extraordinaire.
Aphrodite, all of
Like,
these
oh,
hoes. So like,
child,
I'm
I
trying.
always
child.
thought those stories were really cool and
Is
interesting.
that
Or
a
like the
human breathing?
Odyssey, for example, how Odysseus lives in
Mm-hmm.
this world with like gods and creatures, and you got these gorgons and shit like that. All of that shit was always cool to me. So I've always explored kind of things like this. But I actually will say that it was when I was 18. I was taking classes at Freedom Theater, and one of my friends that I met there, his name was Jazir. He's like he and then my acting instructor there, Miss Shauna, they both were witches, and it was also the first time that I met a man that referred to himself as a witch. Because everyone always loves the word warlock because they think it sounds cool, but it actually means oath breaker, and it's not really something that you want to be. Um, like a fucking liar, it's not what you want to be. So that's not actually it sounds nice.
Hmm.
It's just not it. Witch is actually a non-gendered term. It's just always been associated with women and the feminine, especially because they're the ones that are killed for being powerful.
Ah,
So I would say that my
That
specific
part.
path of practice and getting more than just the propaganda to what it means to be a witch and witchcraft came with meeting Jazir. He actually gave me a lot of books on it, and I also liked just studying a lot of different religions in general and kind of seeing how and where they all connect. And I found that, especially kind of like in witchcraft, especially because it is so broad, um, that also kind of helped me along my journey, I suppose. So I wasn't too limited to one space. As far as my practice currently, I don't follow any specific practice. Like I wouldn't say that I'm like there's Wicca, there's Voodoo, there's and Voodoo and Hoodoo actually aren't the same. Those are actually they're similar, but they're definitely not the same. One kind of branched a
I
little
was going to
from the
ask
other,
that.
but Hoodoo actually has more connection to Roman Catholicism. Um, and also like people who practice hoodoo are more so referred to as like root workers or healers, whereas like voodoo is specifically a structured religious practice. Practitioners are usually referred to as voodoo saints,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it has nothing to do with Roman Catholicism at all. But yeah, so there are many different practices. But I would say I've definitely kept mine kind of like more general and expansive. Like I like to do a lot of energy work or candle magic. I do divination, which is really using pretty much anything to kind of like connect to your intuition. And your intuition, everybody has.
Yes.
Um, but that's essentially how you know things without having to go through an entire logical process to arrive at that same conclusion. Sometimes you just know shit and you're right. That's your intuition. So there's ways to strengthen it and connect to it. And that's essentially what divination is for. So different forms of divination would be cartomancy, which is where tarot comes in. Some people read flames. Other people have like reading the tea leaves, or like if you take a bath and you have like flowers or some shit in your bath and you watch and see what kind of patterns it makes after. You can read clouds, all sorts of shit. So
Hmm.
divination, you can kind of use anything, even smoke, to kind of like see what it tells you, or see kind of what comes to you or what it makes you think about. And sometimes the things that come to mind may not seem like they're connected until they do. Until they do. And then
I
you're like,
agree.
oh.
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
so yeah, I think my practice isn't, I don't necessarily like to box myself into a particular way of practicing.
You don't do
And I think
boxes
that
very
helps to
well.
keep it a bit more personalized to me.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are learning that as well now. It's like chill.
Yeah.
I
I
think back
s-
in the day, people would be more like, even if they were already, as others would say, out there, they would go out there to another box
yeah,
Yeah.
of being.
that's true. I see a lot of young people on TikTok. Like I follow a lot of spiritual folk on TikTok and whatnot, and I see a lot of them, the ones that I connected with the most, that seem the most genuine to me. A lot of them warn, their audience about, the fakes and the phonies who pretend to say, oh, if this showed on your For You page, this is for you. And,
Mhm.
they pluck a random
Mhm.
tarot card or whatever and try to give this bullshit reading. And I know one of the followers asked, one of the creators, like, hey, why don't you just call these people out? And it's like, it's not really my place or space
Yeah.
to do that. And then on top of that, you could be starting a war that you may not be prepared for when you're doing certain things, because you never know what kind of magic that other person may be capable of, and they may be trying to hex and or put some type of stuff on you that you are not ready for, or you may not necessarily be prepared for in protecting yourself. As a individual who is learning light working, um, what are some ways that our viewers could protect themselves if they are interested in all of this? Because I know that's a big portion of it, is protecting yourself and protecting your space.
Well, yeah, I guess it depends on how you decide to go about it and what things connect most to you, or you find yourself connecting most to. Like I said, I like to do candle magic a lot. So sometimes it could be as simple as getting yourself a white candle, maybe even carving your own name into it and carving symbols that represent protection to you, and like lighting that shit. Some people, like when you get into things that are a bit like more complex, such as oils and herbs and things of the like, everything has some type of energetic correspondence. So there's a lot of things, just like how there's color correspondences for certain purposes. Different plants and herbs also work for that as well. So to strengthen the intent or the power of what they're doing, that's when people may introduce those things as well. So you can get herbs and the like that correspond to protection, and incorporate that into your intentions and things of the like. It really depends on what your practice is. There's a lot of people who also, like, besides using symbols, like there's certain symbols for protection that people might draw inside their space. So like they'll draw on the windows or the doors of their homes. Salt has always been used for
Yeah.
protection. Even certain crystals like black tourmaline and hematite and onyx and all sorts of shit like that have also been used for protection. Rusty nails.
Yeah.
Um, Rusty nails. Something
That's
that you might see come up
stuff
as
from,
something that can be used.
that's some
Rusty nails.
Wow. I never thought about that because
that's
I always thought like when I saw a rusty nail, tetanus. Like that's the first
I
thought
know,
I
right?
thought.
Exactly. Tetanus to whatever the fuck is trying to fuck with you. So you put that shit in a nice little jar. You can also make jars. That's something else that people do, is like a bitch jar where they'll gather again all of these corresponding elements for a particular purpose. They'll put it together in the jar. Might
yeah.
even write their intentions or a petition like, I am safe, I am protected by my ancestors, by my guides, or whoever the fuck. I protect my own goddamn self. I affirm that I am protected from,
Yeah.
and then put that in there. You know what I'm saying? That's when you can put in the rusty nails too. And then that can like represent just like, your little jar of protection. A lot of the time, people, especially if they're living at a place for a long period of time, they might bury it on their property. A lot of people don't have property to bury on. So that doesn't have to be the case. You can put that shit in your basement. You can hide it on a shelf in your room somewhere where nobody's going to see it. So yeah, I guess it really depends on like what their personal practice is and what they feel most, I guess, called to. Um,
I-
but yeah, there's definitely so much that people can do for protection. It's also just always good to cleanse yourself and your space and your energy. Smoke is just always good for stuff like that. So like burning things like lavender or rosemary or cedar. People always go straight for sage. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, maybe if you find that locally and you harvest it yourself, but because everybody wants to do sage now, it's definitely becoming over harvested, and a lot of indigenous communities kind of don't really have it for their actual ceremonies that they've been using it for anymore. So I don't recommend just going straight for sage. There's so many different cleansing herbs and plants that folks can use that they don't have to be dependent on just sage.
Yeah.
Can
Um,
incense also be like a cleansing agent as well?
Yes, absolutely. There are some that are specifically
Yes.
made for that. And if you actually find some really good incense makers, you'll see kind of like the herbs in it. Like a lot of the time, they'll grind everything up into powders and then add oils to it. And then kind of like maybe even a resin so that it solidifies on the stick. But like there's a
Mm.
lot of them where like you can see like
I'm trying
depending
to
on where
learn
you
how to
get it
make
from, you can
them.
see the little herbs in it.
Yeah,
Oh
I'm
my
trying to learn how
god,
to
that'd be
make
great
them,
actually.
yo.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to do that because I'm already like trying to like learn how to make like scented candles and stuff like that.
Mm.
Just for family and friends and things, and it was just going to be a seasonal thing. But like I love
Yeah.
scented candles, I love incense and stuff like that. Like every now and again I will cleanse the house. I do incense often. I don't really use sage to cleanse my house nearly as much as I used to because I realized like and learned that smoke is the best way to cleanse. So you can definitely use your incense and just kind of like waft through the house and all of that, and that actually definitely does
I
get rid of
use both.
the energy. The one thing I will say is Arazel's
Well, I know
space.
you use
Like when you
both,
enter this woman's
and
space,
the way the
it's
housekeeping
almost
and whatnot.
like no, seriously. Like this is how I know that there was a there was some type of like out of out of this world like energy there when you walk through the threshold of her space. All of your whatever you was like fooling with and gerrymandering with before, like that stayed out there. It literally stayed outside. Okay, because I lied to you not. I was dating somebody at the time. Crazy Mike. You met him. We were arguing on the way up to your apartment when you lived on Bainbridge, and
Yeah.
when we walked through this space, he said it to me. I knew because I had been there, but he said it to me. He was just like, "Oh my god." He was just like, "Oh my god." it's like I don't know. It just it's different in here. And
You
like
feel your
just
heartbeat slow down.
the whole like I'm telling you, whatever outer world problems you have, stay on the other side of that door. Cause you can't bring them in here. is all I know. You can't bring them in here. Except for that one time I lost his work phone. That was a whole thing, but like I didn't notice that until much later. Until like an hour after we were there. But that was
I
fun. But yeah, like I know that works. And so like it was you that inspired me to start treating my space in the same way. And I have to say thank you so much. I am so grateful for that. And I am so grateful for you and to you. To know you, it is an honor because like you've taught me so much and I've learned so much from you. Like even without all of the conversations, like you just by watching you, I've learned so much. And so I have to say thank you and I really appreciate you from every aspect of my heart.
That's so important.
Like
Aw.
for real. You deserve your flowers and I'm giving them to you,
Thank you.
okay?
I've been taking
I'm
notes
really
this
grateful.
entire time.
La la
I'm
la.
really
I
grateful.
need protection.
Hey man, you gotta start cleansing your space then.
Look,
Like
look. You don't know how often I have been almost offered as a sacrifice to the
Oh,
old gods.
you attract that.
yeah, you
I've been
do.
offered as a sacrifice to the old gods, which I don't know why, because they don't want me.
Yeah, how you know?
They just want your power.
I'm still here,
They
and
want
They
I've been
want your
whatever
used,
power.
sacrifices they
and I've
can
been
get.
used as a
They
spiritual
want your life
battery
force and your
more
power.
often
You
than
just
not.
can't give it. You gotta give that. The reason why they haven't taken you is because they can't take you. You have to go willingly. That is the one thing about spirit. That's the one thing I've
I'm
learned. They're
still
not gonna. It's
waiting.
not gonna just take you. You have to give
I'm waiting
willingly.
for a worthy opponent, aka Truck Coon. That's the only person
What? I'm
who's
over
allowed
it.
to take the
First of
beat.
all,
Okay, you
how
know
you gonna
what?
take
This
a
became a
statement?
whole nother conversation. Anywho,
No, but seriously, that's something I had to deal with a lot. I've had to deal with a
Aw,
lot of trying to sacrifice me to the fucking old gods for
aw.
being used as a spiritual battery. It's possibly the reason I don't fucking like being around people as is.
Arizona,
Look,
what suggestions would you give this young man?
I don't even know.
Yeah,
Who
any
the hell you
suggestions?
know? Who you talking to?
okay.
These American
Uh,
guys out here. I don't even
Even
know. Was you
one
out there with him? Was you in that little town with that
even
ice?
No, nah.
Is that where you was at? What's going on? Who you around? What you? How often does this happen?
right.
What's going on? What you
one
getting into? I need to know that.
year.
It's happened
Every year
at
since he
least
was
14
12.
times in the
He
last
every year since
8
12.
years.
Oh, Lord.
The
Mm-hmm.
last 14 times in the last 8 years, I've been
Look,
motherfuckers have tried to sacrifice me to the old gods. Whether it's from
apparently
Greek pantheon,
want that.
fucking Norse pantheon, or
Oh my
like
gosh.
Eldritch gods. And I'm just like, what the
What?
fuck is wrong with y'all?
What? Oh my goodness.
I feel like these
But
people just didn't like you. They was
right.
just like, look, I need a sacrifice. So you just the one today.
Oh,
I mean,
No, but seriously though, I don't
mm,
fucking know. What are you doing? Like, how is this happening 14 times? Is this all in the same community? Was they all friends? Did they
No.
send your information to each
actually,
other? We gonna get them.
And
we
this
gonna
is
no,
get
We
him,
our
gonna get
y'all.
them
This gonna be the
eventually.
year, y'all.
no, our
Like, yo, have y'all seen The Purge, like season 1 on Hulu? Like, literally
No.
at 7 o'clock, Bull was like, "All right, well, I'll see you. I'll try to get you guys next year." Like, literally,
Yeah.
once the sirens went off or whatever, he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna just try to get you. I'm gonna just try to get you niggas next year."
Like, like he was just like, oh shucks.
Darn, like it was Swiper, like Swiper,
guy.
no swiping. Oh
No,
Oh
man.
man.
no. It reminded me of the old Mary Melody cartoons when they had Wile E. Coyote and the sheepdog,
Yeah,
but it was an actual job. And at 5 o'clock, the whistle would blow, and they would just be like, "See you tomorrow, Sam. See you tomorrow,
right.
kid."
Yeah.
But this
Did you
is
have some questions, Corey?
No, this is great.
Say
I've been
that.
just sitting back watching you guys go, and I'm like, it's awesome.
All right, I have
But
one more question.
yeah, go on.
What how do you deal as a light worker with the retrogrades? What is the what are some tips you can offer to those who are dealing with the retrogrades and are
Woo!
having a tough time?
I
Because
need y'all to listen
that's
up,
where we
break
at.
out the pen and paper, and
Um,
write this one
I
down.
think it's important that people educate themselves on them. Like, I feel
Mhm.
like a lot of the time people struggle because they don't know shit. They just like, oh, everything's about to get fucked up. And it's like, well, in what ways? What planet's in
Right.
retrograde? What does that planet rule? You know, like
Right.
really,
Some things you
and the
might have to clear
retrogrades
up, some
themselves.
shadow work you
Yeah,
might
and then
need to do.
the retrogrades also aren't a bad thing. It's just that
Okay.
especially in a capitalist society where more often than not we're not allowed time to rest and reflect on things or to like
Mhm.
kind of like slow down and like maybe I'm not gonna try to sign this contract today. Maybe I'll give myself some time to really read it over and review it and make sure I completely understand what I'm doing. You know, so if anything, it causes us to also be more responsible as well. Like check and
Right.
double check, review, make sure you completely understand what's going on. Make sure you like actually try to keep up communication or be stronger about your communication or be as precise as possible in your communication, you know. But retrogrades usually are a time for introspection and are a time for review. And depending on like which planet is in retrograde is what the themes are. So like usually when it's Mercury, which is the planet that goes into retrograde the most often, Mercury rules things like communication,
Right.
information, and knowledge, and how we process it, short trips and travel, and our electronics and things of the like, especially because these are communication devices.
Mhm.
And so, like, during
So when
retrograde
I be
season,
messing up, my
they kind
Mercury's be retrograde.
Oh
you
my
know?
God. Go away, Corey.
Go to
And
bed,
it's to
Gator.
say that, you know, because they do have energetic influence. I remember one motherfucker said to me once, none of the planets have any effect on us, only the moon does. I'm just like,
We're literally in space with all
He,
like
he's a
literally.
shower shitter.
they're just sitting.
Probably. Had to be. Had to
What?
be. Had to be. Had to be a
I'm
shower
just
shitter.
like, I'm like,
Did
first
y'all
of
hear
all,
about
only
that
the
statistic
moon.
that
Did you
came
forget
up?
about the
Right.
sun?
Did y'all hear
Second
about
of
that
all,
statistic that came out? They
Why?
talking about some 1 in 30 people is a shower shitter.
It's ridiculous.
wow.
They no, they was talking about the 76%
You know
of
what that
white
sounds like?
Americans.
That sounds like colonizer propaganda to
Yep,
me.
it definitely
Released
sounds like colonizer propaganda.
parchment paper
Absolutely.
platoons in snow
Absolutely.
That
roaches,
somes like what was going on in
frost
France in the
fiends.
1800s.
During the dark ages.
Yes.
Mm-mm-mm.
Hot
But
mess.
yeah,
Because you
yeah,
know,
but
even let me not go
Go
off
ahead.
topic. I was really about to go off into a whole other
no.
dimension
No, go
just
for it.
now.
Go for
Never
it.
Listen,
mind.
if we no, if
Here
we
for
go
it.
off on a
Here for
tangent,
it.
you are free to go off on a
I
tangent.
look. I was just gonna say the aristocracy, them bitches. First of all, they ain't wear the same shit twice because they ain't even wash they shit. And so when they talking about them clean, crisp linens or whatever, who has the cleanest linens, even though it was like, oh, like maybe we can change our clothes but and stuff, but not wash our bodies. I don't know why that didn't occur to them. So they didn't wash their fucking bodies for real. I think it was like even King Henry the 14th. I think he only
Mhm.
bathed twice in his life, and it was just
It's
because he had gotten like really sick or something like that, and so like he like washed up or whatever the fuck. But outside of that, like they also used to like piss and shit behind curtains, like in the
Mhm.
building of a lot of their infrastructure back then for whatever reason, like especially in these castles, they didn't consider bathrooms. So they didn't actually have designated places for people to go piss and shit. So they would either piss and shit in the streets or like behind those fancy ass curtains in those big ass castles. It smelled like shit. It was just smelled like public toilets everywhere. Which I'm just like, wow. Like if you
Nah.
went into a city, can you imagine a city of homeless people? Because you know what
Oh.
homeless people smell like. That's
Ugh.
essentially what that would have smelled like
Meanwhile,
because nobody
meanwhile in the
bathed.
motherland, as I use
Right.
the river's
Smelling
waters to
like
wash
cocoa
my
butter,
buddy.
shea butter, and tropical freedom.
because the difference
Just
Mm.
that they're actually
just luxurious.
Yeah,
After
like
this podcast, I'm definitely
go.
finna take a shower.
Oh my.
Hello, Dr. Bonner.
Hello, Doc
Who
Botters.
said
Easy on my Doc Bonners.
Hey, you will be squeaky clean though,
Easy on my Doc Bonners.
minty fresh.
You got
Did it
your
not them to like go someplace natural? You know what I'm saying? Like if you're relieving waste from your body, you wouldn't think to let that waste go somewhere that you're not going to plant things, but where it can go back into the earth and fertilize stuff. But you'll put your hand in cow dung, you'll collect all this other stuff, but I'm not saying we should eat from that fertilized ground where they poop it behind the curtain. Behind the curtain.
Behind the curtain, man.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm just
Like,
like,
At least in modern day society, we go to
but
the
no,
alley
modern day
behind the
society.
dumpsters.
I really want to say this. Like Niko and Arazel both said important things that bring to light, pop culture. Because even when you bring up like TikTok and such, and people who want to call out fakes or phonies and everything. But the thing is that now with media in general and seeing all of these different themes, whether it's wrong or not, it's doing one good thing. It's getting people to ask questions. And that's what I was like saying with Lamont is like
thanks for
the answer to your question of like, how can this stop or how can I be protected is like, ask yourself the question. How
Why
do
am
I
I being
stop?
targeted?
Yeah, like that's the first step of any of this is asking a question. It's literally the curiosity of it is magical alone.
Yep. When you remain curious, that
absolutely.
opens up the door to possibility, and when you open up the door to possibility, that
Oh,
is where true magic lies.
that's some
And that's
Disney.
also where a lot of the shadow work is because a lot of the time people are always
Mm.
looking outside of themselves for answers when they have all of
Say
the
it again.
answers. How are you
Say
opening
it
yourself
again.
up to these situations in the first place? Who are you fucking with? Who did you
Yes.
piss off? And in a lot of the cases, too, I think it's important to mind our fucking business because everybody's on their own path, especially in regards to their practice. So,
You
since
hear that,
everybody's
Karen?
practice is also like unique unto them, if they want to share their personal practices and what works for them, that's great. If it doesn't work for you, then it doesn't and move on. But who
Yep.
are we to say who's phony and who isn't? How do you
Right.
know if their
Use your
practice works
discernment.
or not?
That
Maybe it works for
Use your
them, but it
discernment.
might not work for you.
it,
So trying to call people out on their spiritual, mind your fucking business and mind your practice. Mind the business that pays you much. And mind your own spirits.
Hello.
Because you don't actually
Because
know
some of
like
y'all got
whether or
demons
not,
in the corner and y'all ain't even trying to pay attention to those.
actually
exactly.
it's
I'm
so
best friends with my
literally
demons. I don't
just
know what
having
you're
this
talking
this conversation kind of with myself about how minding your business is an art because people will mind business when it comes to protecting others or making sure someone's safe. Oh, they're quick to mind their business. But when it comes to somebody's opinions or someone's way of life or lifestyle that's especially not harming anybody else or that's
Hmm.
allowing you to view a different perspective. Oh, now they don't want to mind their business. Now they want to insert themselves. Where were you when you could have minded your business when someone was getting hurt or attacked on the street?
Hello.
You minded your business then.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It,
Mm-hmm.
What's the
art
Exactly.
difference?
Message.
is it
Message.
how can you like mind the business in the right way? We can do
Yeah,
that.
about.
Yeah.
I
I,
keep to
I have a
myself,
question.
staying at home.
exactly.
Yeah.
Mind
Go
my
ahead,
own
Gator.
fucking
You got a
business.
question?
Go
Yeah,
ahead,
get
Gator. Go ahead, Gator.
I can't recall.
We love you.
Um,
As a
question.
matter of fact, is there a way for me to change your name?
wait, say
No,
it again?
you can't. You can't change his name. Go ahead and answer your question, Queen.
No. Um, this is definitely a question. How did you feel noticing this great transition and the depiction of witchcraft and Wiccans in pop culture? Because definitely it's been a big change over just like the last 10 years, definitely,
20 years.
especially 20 years, especially when it comes to including our melanated brothers and sisters.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
no longer devil work.
Right.
They
Well, I
they
think
tried
Harry
it. They
Potter
tried it.
actually made witchcraft palatable for people. So I think that's the thing. Like I noticed the kind of like turn in the trend of witchcraft even being cool and popular and not necessarily just associated with like devil shit um with the coming out of Harry Potter. That's when I first like saw like witchcraft in general. I mean, of course, like The Craft was out and shit, but that's still a cult classic that was still very niche. Not everybody fucked
Mm-hmm.
with it, and even then, it's still
The depiction of it was
um
not.
Yeah, it still wasn't positive.
yeah, and then also like a lot of it was like kind of ridiculous for real, for real. I'm like, look at this, what the fuck is going on? What do these bitches do? Anyway, but
She just needed therapy. Nancy
this
just
shit don't
needed
usually
therapy.
be this dramatic. I'm like, what
Wait,
the
can I
fuck?
say something?
But anyway,
Do you remember in the magazine?
but I will say,
I don't think she. I don't think that you can
You
hear me.
cut
Do
out.
you remember in the magazines that they used to have the stuff from the craft, like in the magazines, telling you like how to do it, like in the teen magazines.
Oh
what?
God.
I
Yeah.
didn't even catch that. Oh
Yeah, I
Yes.
shit,
didn't
I
either.
missed that wave entirely.
So strange,
That's pretty
yo.
wild. Yeah, nah, I totally missed that, John. And yeah,
Listen,
I
I'm
don't know,
still
like
trying to
as far as
levitate.
like the oh right. And see, that's the shit. That's some of the misleading propaganda shit. Ain't no bitches out here levitating. I'm sorry. Even somebody with all they motherfucking chakras unlocked and shit, that's not how it works. You'll probably astral project before you're physically levitate, okay? So it's
Fair.
like that's the first order of business. I
Listen,
just like thanks the craft. Now motherfuckers gonna be out here thinking that they don't need these motherfucking wires and shit like this bitch was on to be out.
okay.
I'm
Light as
like,
a
these
feather,
bitches
stiff as
gonna
a
get on
board.
some
Light as a
broom.
feather, stiff as a board. Light as a feather, stiff as a board.
First
I'm
things
like,
first. First, I levitate, then I cast fireball, then it's over
Done.
for everybody else.
and then I was also like, these bitches are lying. Y'all talk about perfect love and perfect trust. Y'all don't
Mm,
love each other.
They
And y'all
really
don't
didn't.
even trust each other. Y'all barely know each other. You talk about some perfect love, perfect trust ass bitches. What the fuck are we talking about? That's why a lot of that shit failed anyway, because they was already lying. The fuck? How you
Mm.
gonna build your manifestation? And that's the thing also about like how things backfire is like when wires are crossed or when you are fucking warlock and you're out here lying and shit, breaking oaths or whatever, get in the way of your fucking manifestations and shit. But yeah, I would say as far as like them adding people of color, I feel like that's just been a trend in general, especially, I mean, they always had a nice little token black more often than not. But also, usually witchcraft was only associated with like European paganism, and they acted like witches didn't exist all throughout the fucking world. So only European paganism had been like validated anyway as something worth showing. Which, even kind
Colonized
of
and
up till now
propaganda.
is like a thing. And so I feel like a lot of cases, them including people of color, is just because of the fact that, like, that's like kind of what everybody's doing now, such as now finally including more people who exist, like gay or queer people or trans folks in the media. It's like, we exist. What fucking world are we in? Like, even when you think of Harry Potter, I think I only saw like two black kids in the entire fucking movie.
I
It's like,
never
oh,
had
Hermione's
any
supposed to be
so
black.
in
lines.
all of the UK, y'all ain't got no motherfucking black people. Like,
Hermione was
just a
supposed to be
lie.
black.
There's hella black people out there.
Excuse me.
So it's just like, you know what I'm saying? So I know
Hermione
that
was black.
because there's been a lot more, just a lot more of people speaking up and speaking out and or choosing not to consume certain media because it doesn't have what they want. That's been
Mm.
forcing people to make changes. And so they're trying to, I feel like there's a lot of cases where they're actually just trying to appease people and not because they actually care about representation. I would like to see also more writing and depiction done not only by people of color, but also about different forms of practice, again, outside of just European paganism, and showing things that are actually depicting the practice as it is, you know?
Yeah,
Like I
instead
feel
of
like that's
trying to
the other
create a
thing is like
fantasy.
again, with most things. Yeah, like with most things, I find that we come across the propaganda first before we come across any real information about it. And I found that with spiritual practice specifically, is where I see that the most, especially with things like voodoo, for example, which is undeniably black, and therefore that's why it's been demonized, you know? And
Mm.
so things of the like. So it's like so even to black people, what keeps them from practices like voodoo and ifa and things of the like is that they're coming across the propaganda first and not getting any information from actual practitioners, which more often than not, a lot of it is ancestral work, working with people who have actually lived and that you have some form of connection to,
Yeah.
and all sorts of things, so I feel like I don't know if they actually have more writers of color on these projects. I feel like that hasn't really been something I've personally looked into. A lot of the depictions I see, of which is actually annoy the fuck out of me, and so I usually don't have a lot of like desire to watch a lot of the things. Um, like for example, there is this motherfucking show. Oh my god. I've been cussing this whole time. I never actually asked if that
No,
like
and that's
No, it's totally
perfect.
fine.
That's
This is
fine.
YouTube.
oh, I'm a fucking pirate out this bitch. And so I was just going, and I meant to
It's
ask
okay.
earlier, and then I
It's totally
forgot.
fine.
It's
Totally
But
fine.
there was this one fucking show. What was it called? It was like I don't fucking know. But basically, it was witches working for the government. It was supposed to be like this whole like special section of the
Oh my!
government that's specifically witches. And I was just like, what the fuck is
What?
this? What
How
kind
does
of
that?
fucking
How that
concept?
doesn't even sound right.
Yeah, that
It's
doesn't.
so funny because it sounds like that means none of y'all even done seen it or heard of it. And it's because it's not worth seeing or hearing about. I saw like where did I see
That
the
sounds like
advertisement for on like
conservatives
Instagram
listening
or
to Rage
something?
Against the Machine.
Okay.
Ser- and then trying to make their own album or something. I was just like, what the fuck? And I thought I was like, this has to be like a parody or something. Like this. No, that shit. I was like, see, I am never watching this. I remember me and a couple of my other friends were like cracking up at the whole, just at the concept, but stuff like that. I was like, see, I have no desire to watch this. Um, I know that I've been on Amazon Prime because I've been watching The Walking Dead. That's like my soap opera, but I caught up on it
Understood.
now, so I'm just like, fuck. All
I'm
right, I
still
gotta
stuck
watch
at the
something else.
part. Wait, have you
We're on our last
gotten
season.
to have you
Oh, I'm
how far
like
have you got?
completely caught up. I'm in season
Okay, yeah.
11.
Yeah, no, I'm
Yeah.
I'm still stuck at the point where Glenn died. Like I couldn't
Oh,
I couldn't keep watching after that. That
Oh
really
yeah,
broke
that
me.
was that was.
That
oh.
really broke me, okay? I
Oh,
know
I
I was
had to see
supposed to
what
keep
happened.
going, but
Well, because
like I
people
couldn't.
like I already knew that was coming.
Because of the
So
comic.
like because it's media and shit. So like even if nobody tells you directly, like I knew that damn, what the fuck? Thank you ADHD.
Rick.
No, his fucking
Carl.
Carl, fucking Carl,
Yeah.
Oh, I
man.
Poor.
I already knew that little motherfucker was finna die. Just literally only because I saw a fan art visual of all the people
Wait,
who had died, and
Carl
then they fucking
dies?
put. Oh shit! You didn't know that.
Oh.
but no,
I'm sorry, I forgot. You
it,
said you was stuck at where Glenn died. Oops.
It's okay. It's okay. It's
Let
okay.
me
It's
mute my
fine. I'm
motherfucking
okay with spoils.
self.
I'm
no,
okay. I
Carl.
am so okay with spoilers. It
What
doesn't
you
really
tell her
bother
about
I'm
me.
sorry.
Sasha?
This shit has been out for so many years.
Wait, what?
I didn't even. I don't know why I
Nope.
didn't think
You
about that.
fine. You
But
fine.
But
It's
yeah,
okay. I'm okay with
that's what I
spoilers.
found out just because I saw a graphic of all the
yeah,
people who had died, and then it showed them welcoming him, and I was like, "Damn it, now I
Aw.
know."
but
But then I
All
was
no.
right.
like, "All right,
Like the show actually released that Carl's gonna go. Like they didn't even care about his exit. They like the
Well,
show.
Carl was a little shit from the
No,
beginning. I'm
but
sorry.
he was
what?
he
I
was
love Carl."
but Walking Dead was like
He's a pain in the ass. I'm sorry. All the
Carl.
kids in most of these zombie shows are pains in the asses.
Aw,
Like,
but
I'm sorry. A
Judith,
lot of these
His sister
adult
ends up being
shows.
dope as fuck.
Judith is cool.
Judith
Yeah.
ends up being dope as fuck.
I
I did love
love
Carl,
those.
especially after he got older too. Ooh, I was like, yes, go ahead, Carl. Look at you, a child of the fucking Armageddon and shit. But you
Listen,
Okay.
know.
when Carl went to try and take out Negan on his own, I had to give dude credit. It took a
Man,
lot of balls.
yeah.
Yo, that was dope as shit, actually. And I loved.
Even
I don't give a
even
fuck if
Negan
this.
was
Actually, I'm
impressed.
pretty sure a lot of people love Negan. I love Negan, unpopular or not. I love that motherfucker. I actually, it was like a love hate relationship. I was like, damn, but you funny as shit, and you got that cute smile. I was like Jeffrey
That's
Dean
because
Morgan.
he's the best. He was the best. He was the best honest bad guy.
Yeah, he's
Facts.
very
Oh
honest.
yeah, and I totally understood him, and he had a code, and I got where he was coming from because best believe if somebody came and murdered one of their motherfucking people or whatever, there'd be hell to pay. They would go and gun those motherfuckers down too. So he also
No
had to make a
exceptions.
point, like, yo, I don't fuck around for real, and y'all did just come to my fucking place and murder my people. The fuck did you think that I
That's why
wasn't gonna
I
do
knew.
something about that?
That's why
So
I knew
it
Abraham
was
was
like,
going
well,
to
I
go
guess I
down.
can't be too mad. It hurt though. It literally hurt. And then I also was like, I didn't need y'all to really show that like that.
It,
That to
yeah,
me wasn't too necessary. And then I was also it just hurt even more because of how long it took him to die. And I was
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
like,
you know what?
Yes.
mm.
They seen exactly how it looks in the comic book. This happened to me randomly. I went to a comic book shop in New York. I picked up a random Walking Dead comic, opened it to the page where you see Glenn's like eye hanging out, and I was like, no. So when the episode up. Right? I was like, what the like how do I open up to this very page? So when I saw the
Yeah.
scene and then it happened to Abraham, I was like, oh, they're gonna keep Glenn? And it's like, oh no, too. I was like, oh, I really have to see
Cause
this in
Daryl decided he wanted to fuck up.
It
I'm
uh
like,
just
oh, you gonna
inspired.
lunge at him because you gonna be successful in killing him right now, right? You gonna be successful in whooping his ass at this very moment because nobody's gonna
It
stop you.
inspired me to buy myself a sledgehammer.
I'm
Name it
over it.
Alberta.
You know what?
It did take
But
me a while. I did
Negan
kind of
got
fall off of The
Lucille.
Walking Dead a while
Even
ago.
go
I
ahead,
fell off
Alberta.
like maybe some years ago, and then it was like, oh, actually, a triumphant return.
and
And then
some
I was
Yes,
like, damn, this is my shit. So
right?
yeah, that's what I've been
there's that.
watching lately, and I did see that the new update graded version of the craft is out. I heard mixed reviews on it. I wasn't sure how I was gonna feel about it,
Yeah,
and
I
even though
haven't
the
seen
old
it
craft
either.
was definitely like
Not
kind
really
of
it.
like high key garbage to some degree or another in regards to like how witchcraft would actually work and what it would look like in someone's life as far as like how things manifest. It's
Oh,
again like I mean I get it, it's a movie, so of course you're gonna kind of sensationalize it and shit. But no, we don't have electricity coming out of our fucking hands or our wands like in Harry Potter and shit. That's
Come
not
on now.
how it works. That's not what it looked
yeah.
like.
Uh,
The
It's
cra-
not,
the
it's
craft
not like that.
legacy was
I,
bad on several
Listen,
levels.
I done already
And
described
I
to y'all
heard
what the fuck
that.
magic looks like. All
And
right,
I
I done
heard
already
that.
described to y'all what the magic looks like. Okay, I don't walk through this woman's threshold, and whatever my problems were my
And
problems
I
the
didn't
fuck
have the
out
heart to
there.
watch it.
I
Look,
mean,
your movie's going into a bad place
I
when you
didn't
make
have the heart
David
to watch it. I
become
did hear all of the bad reviews and shit, and I was just like, damn, I
when
don't
you
know if
It's
make
I have the
David
heart to
unfortunate.
do
be
it.
the
But
bad guy.
it's been floating, so I was like, maybe I'll check it out anyway while I'm waiting for more episodes of The Walking Dead. But I
yeah,
don't
I
Or
know if
we
I
wouldn't
should
could
do
mind
that
if
to
we
magic
myself.
worked like that.
we got to find a way to watch more episodes of Evil because season 2 is out.
It
That's what
sure
we need to do.
is.
I
I
don't know
don't
if
have
I'm ready.
Paramount Plus though.
I still haven't watched it yet, so I don't
Watch
know if
season
Oh,
that's
it's so
one.
something I
good.
wanna.
It's Arazel put me on,
I
so
feel like I gotta be just like that TV show Them. Like I feel like I gotta be in a certain
Oh,
mindset
for
to watch
Evil?
it. Yeah.
Oh, Evil's not half as I wouldn't say I don't know. As
it
far as
has
like
its
them,
moments.
it's definitely I mean it has moments, but I wouldn't say it's half as bad as like, or half as traumatic or triggering rather as them
But
would
it's
be
also a
in that
black
way,
Okay.
especially because like yeah, I feel like there's a lot of kind of more senseless violence and just terror against black people in them, but I feel like the
Yeah.
way that it's structured out in um
Evil.
e- yeah, like when they show like racism and like they actually talk about it and like things like for me it's like okay, but more like the entirety of the show though, like kind of like the whole overarching show, it's actually one of my favorite shows, especially because it kind of like shows the intertwining of psychology and spirituality,
Mm.
and even just like a lot of even like science and religion, and how it's essentially just using different language to describe the same phenomenon.
Mm.
And so it's like very interesting to see kind of like the conversations that come up and how they depict
It's
certain
also a good
things.
black comedy.
And then I also like how more realistic it is because it's nice that if they do show things like, for example, demons or something like that, it's like clear, like they make it clear that the person's dreaming, and like because those are times when you would might like see it for real, you know, unless if
Mhm.
you've been, there's some practitioners, like I know one of my friends used to do divination pretty much all day, every day, which is constantly up in the third eye, constantly exercising that. And then even did an exercise where anytime she would look at people, she would try to kind of visualize a tarot card like pop up over their head, like what is your card, you know? And so doing exercises like that over time, she was able to start like seeing some shit. And then she's like, all right, maybe I need to kind of lay off of like this because I'm in this third eye realm a little bit too deep. And now I'm starting to see some stuff that I don't think I feel like seeing every fucking day. But overall, like on a normal day, whether you're a practitioner or not, it doesn't necessarily mean you're just gonna be out here seeing and hearing shit at all. Like,
Right.
and that's the other thing too, I think that I meant to touch on earlier. Um is that I in my the way that I view things, I mean, the thing about like witchcraft or like a craft in general is that everybody is capable and does co-create. You know, everybody manifests. Everyone does, whether they are doing it intentionally or not. I think the thing that really makes self-proclaimed which is different is that it is intentional creation of one's reality. You know, you're actually doing things with the intent of a certain outcome, which is also what goals and planning are, right? You know, so like everybody's a co-creator. Anything that you do does hold weight. You know, everything does have an energetic equivalent or reality. So like anybody is capable of witchcraft and is essentially doing witchcraft just by speaking. Really, that's why it's
Words.
also important, like the kinds of
Spelling.
things that you say about yourself. Exactly, the kinds of things you say about yourself. If you do tell lies, that's, do you really want that to manifest?
I
Like,
only
make
lie to
sure you're
corporate,
careful.
okay? I've only lied to corporate.
No, I understand. I'm
Cause
just
fuck
saying,
them.
like,
But
I've
you know.
noticed, like, especially depending on like how strong your shit be sometimes, because we can flow in and out too with like how strong our manifestations may come in, or even how quickly they come in. Like, there's an ebb and flow or whatever. But like, there have been times where lies I might have told somebody like actually manifested. Like I remember there's one time I told somebody that I was having like issues with my bike or whatever, and it wasn't even, it was maybe a week or two later, the fucking back tire of my bike actually blew out. So I was like, damn
Mm.
it. And then I didn't have my bike for like the next few weeks to a month because I was like, oh shit, here we are, you know. So I was like, oh damn. That's just one example. But like, you want to be careful because sometimes you might throw away something and not think about it. And sometimes those are the things that manifest the quickest because you don't hold it with your consistent focus all the fucking time. And so you kind of let it out into the universe for it to do its work or for whatever. And then that shit'll pop up. So,
And be like,
the
oh
shit
shit.
that we say does actually matter. And I think a lot of people, because they are unaware of their creative ability or their creative power, um, they don't know that they actually are creating their reality and do um have some responsibility to the life and the life that they have and the things that they experience. And I feel like, the more aware we become of these things, the easier it is to kind of like really be intentional about what we're creating for ourselves and the kind of experiences we're having in our lives. But everybody has intuition, everybody has these capabilities, everybody is a co-creator. Just you existing has an
Mhm.
effect on the rest of the world,
Oh,
and that's very
Indeed.
powerful shit.
Yeah.
So act accordingly, you know what I'm saying?
mhm.
But I
Hey,
do, I would like to see like more depictions of how these things could look in real life, how real life manifestations could come about.
I'm
cool.
working on some stuff.
All right.
All right now.
But hey, Arazel, I want
Yes.
to play a game. We've got
All
some
right, Jigsaw, let's
photos.
go.
No, it ain't gonna be that serious. Oh no, no. We
I'm
got the
sorry, I just watched Spiral the other night, so I was just like,
I,
okay.
mm, we'll talk on that. Me and Engine have some photos of witches across media, be it video games, movies, television, and anime. And
Mm.
we just want to hear just off their look. Would you what rating would you give them? One being the lowest, five being hot shit. Just
Oh, so what do you mean rating? Just if I find them attractive
we're
or how
we're
witchy
we're,
they
we're
look?
talking about their fashion choices,
Their witchiness, their witchy fashion.
their witch fashion.
Oh shit.
Just
I'm already not gonna be fun with this game.
I know.
Gonna be so disappointed.
Let's get the first one going.
We have to wait for Jen to come out of his drunken stupor.
I'm not in a drunken stupor ass.
Ooh.
Hey, don't be mean. No name calling.
First off, that's just Angela Bassett, so uh, I got to give
Oh,
that a 5.
Oh
Five
yeah,
point
I was gonna
five.
give this a 5 because for me,
absolutely.
it's not trying to have a particular look. She looked like a
Mm-hmm.
black woman who
Yep.
lived in the South.
Right.
From
Got
American Horror
got the
Story coming.
protective styles and everything.
Yep.
Okay.
She's been playing the same character in what I think about 4 seasons. Love her every time. Need
Mm-hmm.
more of her.
Yes.
I would love to see her as the matriarch of some type of like witch coven though, because
Oh.
she got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh yes. Well, she actually looks like a Caribbean root worker.
Yes. Oh,
Especially
oh.
considering the Pirates of the Caribbean is also a period piece. I will say though that I don't know personally for this period of time. First of all, I don't actually know where she was supposed to be from. I know that she like sounded Caribbean, but then also
Yeah.
there's so many different language groups and so many different accents that are all kind of intertwined and interlaced. So she really could have been from anywhere that wasn't just the Caribbean.
Right.
So even though it's called Pirates of the Caribbean, it doesn't mean she was from the Caribbean. So I don't exactly I wouldn't be able to say whether or not I know like how accurate her depiction is for the period or the time. I'm just it feels like it's accurate to me.
I always want
But
to
I
give
don't
her a
know. In
4.
this particular case, I'm not an expert. So yeah, I'll say that.
Give her a
I don't
4.
think it's trash, and I don't feel like they were trying to like. Oh my god.
Yeah.
1.
So I have to say something about this show. It's not even to say this show is particularly bad
Yeah.
she looks
to
like a kiss
me,
in the shower. That's all I gotta say.
because actually a lot of of people like it, and I know conceptually that has a lot of great shit. But like, there's a lot I fucking hate about this show. One of the things is the acting, bro. I don't know what kind of like genre of act. I don't know if it's like a specific. I don't know, but I hate it. I hate it.
You think
It
they do
feels.
theater?
I don't know.
Exaggerated?
Unseasoned.
Mm-hmm.
You know what?
Yeah.
It could be very theatrical, as if they was on
Exaggerated and over
stage
the
and
top. Maybe they're
forgot that they
used to
was
like
like filming or
stage
something.
and theatrical. Could be.
I did not
Yeah,
like the
it's
main
just I'm
characters,
like,
but the supporting cast was awesome.
"Damn,
Case
she's
in
sexy
point.
as shit." Yeah, I always thought she was hot shit. And I also liked that. I mean, I haven't watched the show for mad long because, like I said, I just couldn't sit through it. I was just like, this acting gets on my fucking nerves. And also, sometimes just the way motherfuckers be acting, and I'm like, is this how people would act? I don't know, man. But anyway, like how they behave, rather. But anyway, I always thought she was hot. And anytime I saw any photo of her, I was like, oh yes, go ahead, girl. Do that. And then also, it didn't seem like her, besides her hairstyle, it didn't seem like she had a particular look. Because that's the other thing. Like, they're like, a lot of the time, it's like, witches wear black. And it's like, oh, we wear all
She
sorts
was
of
like,
colors,
no, bitch,
especially
I'm
depending on what our
gold.
intentions are.
No,
Yeah, so that's why even this picture, I'm like, yes, I would give her a 5.
Prudence had like looks for days.
Yeah, I would say a 5 for her. Okay, so here, everybody looks like normal ass bitches. I think this is the updated craft sheets? Okay.
I
So
feel
like
like
here, everybody looks like normal bitches and they each have their own style. So to me, it doesn't look like they're trying to be like, witches look a certain way. At least from this photo. So I would give this a 5.
I give the black girl a 5. Everybody else get 1s.
Okay.
They all look like they work at Whole Foods.
Work at Whole Foods and shit in the shower.
I'm telling you, black girl a 5. Everybody else is a 1.
Okay. Okay, so even here, everybody pretty much had their own styles.
Black girl 5. Everybody else is 1.
No, because she was definitely trying to make a '90s goth look that ended up getting very emulated. So I got to give her a bit more credit.
Okay, fine, a 2.
Wow.
You give Nancy a 2.
Wow.
2.5. I'm being generous.
2.5. Yeah. So yeah, I feel like I generally am gonna be giving 5s to anything.
Cree Summers
let's have all
has
of these
played a
witches try to
teenager
look
for
the
like
same.
the last like 40 years, dog.
Oh, who's this?
Ooh.
That's something. It looked like something from Final Fantasy.
That's what I thought. I was like, is this supposed to be Tifa? But
And
also,
who we got here?
Hold on. Just admire or whatever.
I'm looking at the outfit, and the outfit, it doesn't look particularly familiar to me. But she looks like Tifa from Final Fantasy.
That ain't Tifa.
That ain't Tifa. That ain't my wife, though. My wife, though.
I was like, is this a fan art variation? Like, I don't know.
I don't simp often, but I simp for Tifa.
You don't simp often?
No, I don't. I
You
really
sure?
don't. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
So we telling them type of lies. We
got
telling them
some
type of lies.
Okay. You got some
I got
receipts?
stories. I got stories.
About what?
Do you really want to die on this hill, engine?
Do we have a
I
name
would
for
have
the
died.
character?
Period. Alicia from Bullet Witch.
Oh, okay. I'm definitely digging the blue. The hair.
Who is this?
Alicia from Bullet Witch.
Yeah, me too.
Bullet
Who's
Witch.
this?
Oh, Alicia from Bullet Witch.
Alicia from Bullet
That's a
Witch.
1.5 for
That's a
me.
video. So I've never even gotten to see that. That's a game, right? I haven't gotten to see that gameplay at all. But I like this outfit. It's dope as shit. And the little bit that I am seeing, I will wear that shit. Look at that pirate ass collar with the fucking buckle. Yes.
What is going on here?
Is this Parasite Eve?
What in the
This looks like
haberdasheries and
Parasite Eve,
hemoglobin?
but with better
The
graphics.
Chaos Witch from Dark Souls.
What's going on here?
Oh, The Chaos
And
Witch
the
from Dark Souls.
haberdasheries and hemoglobins.
The
Well,
Chaos Witch from whom?
Dark
Dark
Souls.
Souls. I'm gonna give that a 2 because it's
Oh,
Dark Souls.
Dark Souls.
I'm gonna give it a
That's a
1.
1 for
Fuck
me.
you
Oh,
mean?
shit.
It ain't even because the way it all looks. I'm giving it a 1 because it's Dark Souls. That game has no difficulty slider. It's
Wow.
perpetually stuck on fuck you.
So is that the only reason why you don't
This.
like the game? Is because it's challenging?
Is that
Who's this bitch?
Yennefer?
I
Is
might
that
be
Yennefer
Yep.
from The
interested.
Witcher?
Yep.
This is Yennefer from The Witcher. Have you ever
Oh
seen the
my.
Ah,
Witcher
that is
series?
Oh my God!
Jenny.
Look at you finally showing
I
your
watched
nerd
that whole
knowledge.
John.
Yeah, like honestly, I do like their depiction of witches because it's very interesting. I do like the fact that they make sure to drive the point home of magic has a price.
Mm-hmm.
Because a
Yeah,
lot
I
of people
thought that
think that by
concept was really
doing
dope.
things, you know what I mean? I love the fact that even like, oh, if you want to look like a certain way or whatever and stay forever young, you have to be sterilized. It's like eternal youth has a cost, a serious one.
Yeah.
Like
I'm
I
like, who the fuck
do.
was she talking to? Because like,
Well, you know, we talk about
I was
white
like, so you
women. We
gonna
talk about
take my entire uterus? You gonna take my entire creative fucking
amen.
organ,
For
like the
us, we
fucking
don't need
center
enchantment.
that
We good for
represents
at least 50
creative?
years. You know what I mean? We can have our kids first and then we go ahead and be like, you know what, you could take this uterus. It's fine. I done had 4 or 5 kids already. You know what I mean? I'm getting to that age. It's been like, 50 years by now. And yeah, now I'm ready for eternal
The
youth, you know?
bloodline is secure.
I will
Right.
also say that the depiction of witches in obvious like period pieces or like obvious like fantasy worlds, I don't really have as much of a opinion about like how they should look because it's like, oh, this is a fantasy realm or this like a particular period versus if they're trying to set it in like a modern day type situation or something and be like, this is how everybody looks. This is a marker for a witch. It's like
Yep.
that's not no.
Who
Witches
that?
got moles. They don't mean shit. So oh wow. Oh, she's so beautiful
Look,
and I love her
her name.
headpiece.
I will say this: her name starts with a V. That's as much as I can pronounce, and she's from Dragon Age Inquisition.
Oh yeah.
Wow, she's gorgeous. I give this a
Yes.
5.
I'm here for the
Yeah.
headdress.
And look at her features. Oh my goodness. Yeah, the headdress is something
She is
else. I see
very,
that little
very
collar
black,
too.
and I'm here
Vivian.
for it.
Yes.
Vivian.
Just yummy.
Vivian.
Vivian. She's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
She is
Vivian
yummy.
gets a 5. It's a 5 for me.
That
She a
brown
whole 10
chocolate.
though.
Yes,
It's a
Yeah,
five.
definitely.
that one piece.
It's a five for me. It's a
What?
five
Who is
for me.
this? Oh,
What in the
Spyro
hell?
with some shit. I'm
Right, this look like
like,
some Spyro shit. This
Banjo
definitely like some
Kazooie.
Spyro.
Gruntilda
oh, fucking
from Banjo and
Banjo.
Kazooie.
Yes. I've
Wow.
always hated these depictions. Actually, you know what? I think they got this depiction specifically from The Wizard of Oz. From
Yes.
All I gotta say is
yeah,
look at the
and so
hat,
that's
The
just
Wicked
look at
Witch.
the
apparently how
scarf,
witches look.
look at the cloak. She like artists.
Mm-hmm. Ah!
Oh, that was a great. I didn't know you was gonna pull that joke out your ass. That's a good one. Who that?
Kumu and
Interesting.
Kote from Legend of Zelda.
Oh wow.
Huh. So, all
You
right, I
know,
have a question. Are these just supposed to be witches? Are these an actual, like, um, I'm saying species of people? Like, is this an actual like group of motherfuckers? Like a kind of like how
weird.
the fucking mage folk were in Final Fantasy 9, the spooks,
Oh yeah.
the fucking little Vivis. How they all had those bright. Oh, I loved them. They were. I was like, oh, I loved them so much, even though they don't really have faces and they're like little dark ghost people. But
It's definitely a
are they
wild
like
look.
that, or are these just like two particular characters? Are they twin sisters? Who this?
Let me get
It
this
is wild as
picture.
shit, but it looks interesting. I
I
like the
think
jewels on their forehead.
I think they're if I recall, they're
I like that
definitely
it
about
seems
like
like it has an obvious correspondence to their elements.
They're not, as I say, they reoccur throughout the franchise. There's one. They're not villainous, and they genuinely try to help Link on his
and you
adventures.
never see any other people like them.
Yeah.
Ah, yeah. Besides the noses and the fact that they're green and on broomsticks, those are the only things that are like similar to other depictions of witches that I've seen. But outside of that, I also like that
With that,
they actually are helpful because more often than not, especially if a witch is ugly, that must mean she's evil. Which you also see in
Mhm.
things like Hansel and Gretel.
yo,
And then the
Right. You
redhead is
can't be
always a
ugly
witch,
and
which is
evil. Pick a
interesting.
struggle. I'm just saying. Like, I'm just saying, you can't be ugly and evil. It's just
But that's what they
no.
always do. I guess they equate ugliness with being
Mm.
evil, and they do it all the time, especially with women and especially with witches. Like in the Hansel and
Yeah.
Gretel movies, like how they have the witches that are essentially basically all hags or whatever, because every witch has their
Mhm.
affliction. But then you have that one redhead out in the fucking woods and shit. It's always the redhead. I knew she was gonna be a
Yeah.
witch too. And Hansel fell in love with her. It was like Hansel and Gretel witch hunters or whatever, and it
Look,
had the
Yeah, I
fucking
watched
bull that
that.
plays Hawkeye.
oh
Yeah, as
yeah,
Hansel. And the
Yeah.
moment I saw that redhead bitch, I was like, oh, so she a witch?
All I
She's
gotta
gonna
say,
be a witch.
all I gotta
Of
say is
course.
when it comes to these two, ignoring the nose, ignoring the eyes, you gotta respect the drip. You gotta check, do a fit
Yeah,
check on
I've
the drip.
seen the
Look
robes
how
and
clean
shit. The fucking
the
crew put the
robes
shit
are.
together.
You got the shoes matching the elemental hairs. You got the gems matching. This is trippy as fuck.
mm,
Do I
And I
always
want
like their
them?
respect
little
the drip.
gauges.
Would I take them home to see mom? Fuck no. But I respect the drip check. That's all I got to say.
I can't.
I do too. I do
One
too.
thing I will
Yeah,
say
yeah.
is like a lot of witch depictions when they don't try to like, match it up with a specific type,
Mhm.
um, like and they just dress them, these bitches be fly as hell.
They
Mm-hmm.
Motherfuckers
do.
be
And that
fly as
I
hell.
always like. That I like. I'm like, right, because intentionality. That's something that I would associate with witches is like being intentional about what they're doing. So even the things that they
Mhm.
wear or how they coordinate or even what color they decide to wear for the next month is usually intentional. If a witch is wearing black, it's not just because witches wear black. It's like because it has a particular intention. And a lot of the time black shields you from a lot of energy, which is why
Mhm.
there's usually black crystals are used for protection, especially energetic or the like. But they were
Mm-hmm.
saying that if you wear black all the time, then it can actually shield you from good energies as well, because it kind of just blankets you from everything. um
Mm-hmm.
so like, yeah, that's why being intentional is important. So if you always out here wearing black, you might also be missing your blessings. You never know.
Hello.
Not entirely,
Message.
but it could be blocking some, you
Message.
know what I'm saying? So like colors have correspondences and shit like that. So yeah, intentionality is definitely something I would
Relax, Charlie
associate with
Murphy.
witches. I wouldn't
Sorry.
say that there's a particular look for real, which is usually why I get annoyed. Like even with certain things that are trending, that are like meant to be like, oh, this is what witches wear and look like and stuff like that, or even using certain symbols. It's just like, all right, but do you know what these symbols mean and why you wearing it? Are you just
Right.
wearing it because you think
It's
it's
cool.
cute? It's like, all
Right.
What
right,
sets you
these
clean,
these things
cuz?
mean something, you know.
What's that you claim?
What sets you clean, cuz?
It's just like a bitch wearing a fucking, Nirvana t-shirt with the fucking lyrics on it and shit, and you go and be like, "Oh yeah, that's my favorite song," and she like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" I just thought
Right.
this shirt was cool. It's just
Ah,
like
Yeah. We call them
the
hype
feeling that you
beasts.
get.
In the
You know
sneakerhead
what I'm
world, we
saying?
call them hype beasts.
ah.
So, you know what I'm saying? So, especially when it comes to things like people's spiritual practices, trying to appropriate spirit isn't really a thing. And if you don't really know what the fuck you're doing, you can fuck your shit up.
Yep.
That's why, like,
Same thing with
I
culture.
seen this kid on TikTok trying to burn a Ouija board because his grandmother told him to dispose of it, and so this kid thought it was a great idea to burn the Ouija board. And there were many light workers and root workers letting him know, like, your grandma just don't like you. Clearly, your
Setting
grandma
you
don't
up for
like you
all sorts of failure.
And it's
because
also
you
important
just
to
broke open a
like,
portal.
yeah, that you can't close now because you. So that's the other shit. Like again, this shit, people just have to educate themselves. This
Research
literally
over
it. Do the
research.
fucking research exactly.
Read a book,
Consciously,
the
like
fucking book.
research over research. Absolutely. Make sure that you actually know about this shit. You know what I'm saying? Because then that's how you can properly respond. Like, and that's the other
Mhm.
shit too. Like a lot of people, if you don't know how to use a Ouija board, if you don't know how to also close portals after you open them, you probably just shouldn't use it.
Uh,
If you use
Well,
it,
let the
That's
then
why
stupid and weak.
that's why there's no movies with black people fucking with Ouija boards.
I'm fine, perfectly fine with letting the stupid and weak weed themselves out. Like,
because then
just
it's
keep
people
it
are
it's
away
me.
also
from me.
assuming that they're contacting who they want to contact, and that's not.
No,
No,
even
like
the
more often than
even the
not, you
movies
just
show
opened
that's
a
not the
door,
move.
or you like called in a fucking house where like 15 people live, let's say, and then like it's just the house phone, so anybody could fucking pick up. You don't know, and oh, is
Is
this
there any way
Grandma
to like
Shirley?
get a direct line or like an extension or anything you can kind of like doop, doop, doop?
If you're trying to contact a person, like it's always helpful to have something personal of theirs.
Okay.
Um So like the thing is, it's not even to say that Ouija boards aren't useful. I haven't found a use for them in my personal practice, but depending on what other people do, um, especially if they understand how they work and how to use them, then like I'm pretty sure shit'll be fine. But more often than not, if you just want a direct link to someone, like one of the easiest ways is through having something personal of theirs.
Okay.
Um, and again,
Yeah.
I like to do candle magic a lot. So sometimes if I specifically am kind of trying to like one of the things that I think about is like what a light will look like or what light represents. So like let's say somebody's like out in the distance somewhere and they see a lighthouse or whatever. Or even when you
Mm,
think of like the fucking bat symbol,
yeah.
using a light or some shit, to kind of be like, hey, I'm over here. I'm calling you. Hey, it might take you a while to come find me or whatever, but I'm over here. So kind of like lighting a candle or something and being like, to have the light draw. Usually I'll think
Yeah.
about my grandma, or something like that. So having a picture of them, even. So even
Mm.
if you don't actually have a personal belonging of theirs, if you have an image of them, that helps too.
Yeah.
I
I
find
usually
that using personal things works best.
Yeah.
yeah. I like even with like I made like a little like I guess pseudo altar because it wasn't really like
Oh.
major or whatever, but it was for the goddess Yamaya in particular. I bought like two big uh blue candles and whatnot and would light them, and I would have like I had this heart shaped like dollar store like dish and whatnot, and I had like a bunch of like
Oh.
chocolates and candies in there and everything that was there. And I never like because I don't eat candy like that, like I would just leave that there and I would light the candles and everything. And I don't know, when I would light the candles and everything and then like kind of like, light incense and everything. I don't know, it was just a certain type of calm that would come across the room and everything in my room and everything, and I would feel very safe.
Mm.
And that was
My
like my tribute to my own ancestors and the folks because I'm both Native American and I'm black. So it's kind of like interesting there. I'm
my
still getting
Yeah.
into my indigenous roots.
my former housemate, you recall Manny, he did that.
Yep. And Yamaya, she protects her daughters. And that's the one thing I can
Mhm.
say. Like, even being down in crazy Florida, I have definitely felt very protected. I think part of the reason why I dealt with that little crazy that I did was because like I haven't unpacked any of that stuff because we were going to move again. So I didn't want
Mhm.
to unpack everything and be all comfortable and everything if we were we're gonna move. So, you know,
Mhm.
I'm still kind of like getting my bearings and everything, and cleansing the house here and there and everything, kind of like finding my space and all of that. But I've definitely just started journaling more and just talking to myself and to spirit, and just kind of like processing, doing my shadow work and learning more about myself, you know.
Aw.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Beautiful.
Yes. Shadow work is
Eh,
so important too
I was
because
doing shadow work and I didn't even know it was shadow work. That was the crazy part.
yo, that's
Right.
how it
That
be.
part.
It's so important too because them shadows that also is what gets in the way of like what you're intending to manifest. Especially like let's say for example you have a lot of deeply held subconscious beliefs, which all of us have to some degree or another. That's part of the work is figuring out what them shits are, and they will express themselves, but you gotta be paying attention
Mm.
to yourself.
Hmm.
Shadow work definitely takes something that a lot of people don't have, which is self-awareness. It's
Mm,
specifically almost what it is like becoming more aware of yourself and what is ruminating in your subconscious, because
hmm.
the subconscious kind of plays a larger part actually in our
Yeah.
manifestation than our actual conscious mind does.
I'm trying to understand my dreams more because I do have a lot of dreams. I've noticed certain things that, like certain positions that I'll fall asleep in. And then in my dream, how that translates. Like, prime example, if I'm asleep with like on my back, and of course, like, inevitably your mouth goes open. Like, you know, you're sleeping with your mouth open.
Mm.
I noticed in my dreams that I have trouble talking. Like, I can't talk right. It's
Yeah.
almost like I have like lidocaine in my lower jaw and I can't make words. And I'm like
Mm.
struggling so hard to like hold my face up and talk
Yeah.
because I'm like, I don't know what's wrong, but you're not working. And I'm sounding crazy. So I'm still trying to like figure out my dreams and things of that nature. I remember the last scary dream, like I guess night terror that I had was a battle between my divine feminine and my divine masculine. And in that dream, I killed the feminine. Apparently, I
Bam.
decapitated her.
Wow.
I decapitated her because like it was just two people chasing after me, and I'm scared. So like, there's a broken piece of glass. I'm gonna just throw that shit like a
Wow.
boomerang.
That's
Mhm.
I cut
that's
her
deep.
head off, but he was still coming for me, and I was just like, "What's going on?" I talked to one of
Mm.
my spiritual
Ah,
advisors, and he was
sounds like a
like,
very particular thing to me.
"Right." He's like, "That sounds like your divine feminine and your divine masculine were trying to get to you, and you
Mm.
were fearful, but you completely decimated your divine feminine."
Mm.
And that's something that maybe you need to reconnect with
Mm.
and things of that nature. So I'm still kind of like learning through a lot of that. But um yeah, like I need to learn more about dreams at this point because I
Yeah,
know
a
there's
lot of
certain
it's
things,
like
certain messages I'm being sent and things that I'm still trying to figure out what they mean.
yeah, because
Mm.
a lot of the time people assume it like has to be literal all the time, just like they think with much of any divination that it has to be literal. Like if I get the death card, I'm gonna die, like in that fucking movie Carmen with Beyonce.
Beyonce, oh
I'm just
god.
like,
Oh, oh
It could have
that's
been just
no.
the
not what
death of
that
that relationship.
means. Yes, or just like
Not the hip
a
hop
former
world.
way of being and shit like, and I'm like, that's what it means to not understand symbols and
Okay.
metaphor, and that's pretty much how our subconscious speaks to us, which is why symbols are so powerful of a thing. Like Nike, for example, that symbol that they're using is like a
Mhm.
lot of the symbols that have been being used and that are being utilized, not even just by companies, but even organizations, even how the fucking Nazis stole the swastika. That shit don't belong
Nope.
to them.
Bruh.
Nope.
Okay.
They took that shit and
It's a
flipped
peace
it and was
symbol.
like, "This is ours now." And it's like, no,
Mhm.
bitch, this has belonged to many culture and civilization before y'all.
Yes.
It's also
Right.
even, I think, a rune as well. And I'm just like, the fuck, this don't belong
Yeah.
to y'all.
Right. This is not peace. This is
It's
peace.
not yours, okay? And so like yeah, so our subconscious does speak to us through like metaphor and symbols. Sometimes it can be a bit more literal depending, especially depending on what you're more receptive to. um because that's the other thing too, is like, it has to be presented to us in a way that we'll actually be able to get eventually. Otherwise, we just ain't gonna get it, and it's just
Right. Because you
it's
you
kind
you
of
repeat the
burning your
shit
internal
until you
language
complete
out.
the shit. That is what spirit will do. You will repeat the shit until you
Mhm.
complete the shit. For
Mhm.
sure.
I actually appreciate you reminding me, because I did have a dream, a pretty wild fucking dream this morning that I actually have to write down.
Me too.
Be
I gotta
sure.
figure out what this what minds means. Like I kept having this dream about like these men keep trying to provoke me. And the same dream
Mm,
that like I'm having trouble speaking. Like these men keep trying to provoke me, and rather than, fighting back like I normally would cuz I'm in a public setting, I don't for some reason. There's
mhm,
something within my spirit that's like don't do that
Mm,
cuz it's not going to
mm,
turn out the way you want.
mm, mm,
mm,
And it's like I'm trying to figure out like because these people keep trying to like do shit to me and I'm not allowing it, but at the same token I'm not fighting the way that I normally would fight like in real life. So I'm trying to figure out what that means and figure out like where that all is supposed to fit in my life, and maybe it's something like I'm having trouble expressing myself or communicating.
yeah.
Maybe it's, my divine masculine trying to take over in some ways in which my divine feminine is trying to, find its way. I
Mm.
I don't know.
Well,
Cuz maybe that's what's responding rather than my divine masculine in just raging.
It also can
So,
Yeah.
depend on how they're trying to challenge
well,
you too, and whether or not it's even worth a response. Because
well,
a lot of the time,
they're
it's
trying
like,
to
well,
physically attack me, and
oh, physically attack you.
yeah,
wow.
they're
Maybe it's
trying to
not time to
physically
speak.
provoke me. Right.
Now it's
Well, they're
time to
trying to
fucking fuck
physically provoke
somebody
me,
up.
and I'm trying my best not to like rage
Mhm.
out in my divine masculine.
Mm,
And rather than do
Un-
that, I'm asking for help. And I think the last thing I remember before I kind of woke up and realized that I was sleeping on my back again, was that my uncle showed up, which was like a person of power in my life. Like that's one person that
Uh,
I know I'm safe with.
yeah.
Okay.
And I still like, even though I could barely talk, I was still trying to let him know, hey, these two dudes right behind you are the culprits and whatnot.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Because I already knew he was going. He was. It was going to be some chitty chatty bang bang. So maybe, maybe it's that. I don't know. But I've really enjoyed this interview. Like oh man, this is our best episode. This is our first 2 hour episode.
oh shit,
Yep,
this
yep,
joint
yep.
was it is 2 hours.
And it,
This
Oh
was lit
it,
though.
it has
Where
been
can
an
everybody
absolute
find you?
pleasure.
oh shit, I'm all over. But like, I guess, yeah, we'll just say they could find me on Instagram for now. Usually Instagram branches into my other, oh, I guess I didn't connect my Twitter to the, oh no, that's because my Twitter's a whole other thing. Anyway, so you can find me on Instagram at the Deva Arazel. You can, all right, so as you can see, I don't know, I'm trying to point at this shit right there, my
Yep, right
fucking
there.
name or whatever. But it's the THE on Instagram instead of LA, and then that's how you can find me. And then that'll branch into my other little fucking shits. So if you want to find me through other means, just go through my Instagram first until I
Okay.
get my website up and popping.
Yeah.
Hello,
That's
web
gonna be the
developer
main
here
place. All right now,
and graphic
I'm gonna have to
designer.
hit
So
you
I
up.
got
But
you. Let me know.
but
All right.
Arazel, it has been an absolute pleasure.
Yes, it has.
Yes.
Yes, it
Yes.
has.
Yes, for me as well. Thank you so much for having me.
Um, I can't I can't wait to have you back. And of course, we want to thank everyone for listening in today, because I know this episode has been helping you along the way, all 2 hours of it, and we are glad you are here for every single minute. Uh,
Yeah.
so make sure, thank you again for listening to our podcast. We hope you're downloading it wherever you're listening to your podcast, be it Anchor, Spotify, Apple, Google
Listen.
Plus,
Okay.
etc., etc. Um, of course, please, please check out AmerimeMedia.com. Website's always got something new in there. We've got some new articles up, uh, and of course, the
Be
Junkies will be
well.
back.
Indeed. Be well. Take care of yourselves and each other.
Uh,
Mhm.
Arazel, it's been an absolute pleasure. Again, thank you very much for coming. Guess it's time for all of us to sound
Thank
off.
you.
Demon, where can they find you?
Yeah, you already know. It's Demon Engine everything. Don't go to my Twitter, but it's Demon Engine everything. Join the Demon Army. Follow me so I can become the next Demon King. And yeah. On to you, love.
Sid.
Okay. Yes, so SiddeeQah Love everywhere on the internet. Also, be sure to follow Metro Esports, where we do everything gaming and and more.
Hey. And be sure to follow queennick.art. You can check out my website. That's www.queennick.art. I am everywhere doing all kinds of things. If you want to catch my adventures and shenanigans, definitely subscribe to my Patreon. That's patreon.com/queennickart. So it's no dot, just take the dot out. It's the same thing everywhere.
Mm. And of course, this is Salty Live 215.
AKA Gator.
Wait, did you change my name? Oh
I
my
didn't do that
goodness.
Oh
shit.
my god.
Yeah. I
I
was
peeped it
waiting on how
earlier.
long it would
I
take
wasn't
him
sure who did
Oh
it.
to
my
figure
god.
that out, but he
I
figured out a way
can't.
to do that shit.
I can't. This is Salty Live 215 on Twitch. But more importantly, make sure you're following Amerime Media. That's AMERIME Media. Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
All right, guys.
Take
All
care of
right.
yourselves and each other,
Oh,
like Niko said, and be well.
yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, everybody. This is Corey Salted True Floyd for Amerime Media, and I hope you enjoyed this podcast video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to check out our other videos right over here. You have a good one. See you around.